Hey everybody, this is Larry. This is May 30th, the 30th, well, second to last day of May. Hope congrats for making it so far. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, join me in Discord, let me know what you think about this far, maximum gap. So today's been a rough competition day. I think it's the worst day I've had in a long time. It happens. I had more victories. I knew how to solve them. I just kind of did them in a weird way. So just one of those off days. Maybe it's allergies. Maybe you see that my eyes are kind of tired and all that stuff. So I don't know. Hopefully this problem will be a little bit easier. And today's problem is maximum gap. So given an integer is the way nums, we do a maximum difference of two successive elements in this sorted maximum difference. Okay. You might as well linear time, linear space. Okay, that makes sense because if it was not linear time, you just do something n log n, and well, that's very obvious and trivial. It's like a two-liner or something like that. But yeah, let me see. Is there any like quick partition e thing? Don't know if I know this one because I think stuff like this in linear time is, to be honest, a little bit for me, I'll practice as a competitor because in competition, n log n is usually fast enough, and very rarely you need to use n time instead of n log n time, because unless your constants are very big, log n is just not that big for many elements. And on this problem, I mean, unless they play around with some ideas like bucket sort or one of the linear sorts, radix sort or counting sort, but that's a little bit awkward. I don't know if that's kind of true. And may not be linear space anyway. The bucket sort is linear space, I guess. One of this, I think there's some pigeonhole e, principal e thing there. Okay, let's if the way less than two elements returns 0, so let's do that first because I always forget, so I have to write it out otherwise. So I guess this isn't the test case, but sometimes when I think about edge cases that don't really form it into anything, I usually type out the code first because otherwise I'm going to forget about it later. But that's just me, so you may differ. Let's say you have min is equal to the min of nums and max is equal nums, so range is equal to max equal min, and so I think if you put everything in a bucket, then that means that everything inside that bucket is the delta is not that big. How many buckets do we want? I mean, I guess if we do pigeonhole of n buckets, then either basically we sorted it because each number belonged to its own bucket, or there are at least one spaces between the buckets, and if there's more than one spaces between the buckets, if there's more than one spaces between the bucket, then the maximum gap has to be between the previous one and the last one. Okay, I think that makes sense. So basically the idea is that, okay, let's say you have some numbers. Okay, and then we put them into bags, right? I don't know if this is a great example, but now we put them in the range. This has 6 of them, so, and let's actually make this 9. Let's make this 18 and make this 0 to make the math easier. So you have 0 to 3, you have 4 to 6. I guess this is technically to keep the range the same. All right, 3 numbers each, yeah. 6 to 8, 9 to 11, 12 to 14, and then 15 to 17. Of course, I messed up it. That's fine. Let's just change that. So now you have these. If n is equal to 6, then you have these buckets, right? In this case, you have 3 is here, 6 is here, 9 is here, 3 is here, 15 is here, and 17 is here. Right? So note that everything inside the same bucket, you know the maximum delta, right? Yeah. And you know that because I was going to think about an edge case where all of them are in the same bag, but that's by definition not true. By definition, there has to be one number in the first bag and one number in the last bag, because we set up the max and the min, like specifically, right? So in that case, and of course inside these bags, we don't care about the order because everything inside is going to be between. Well, oh man, I messed up on this one. Whoops. But let's change this to a 2 so I could cheat. Let's say the order doesn't matter because we know that everything inside is within this 0 to 2 range, meaning that that's your maximum number, or rather, yeah, that's the maximum delta that's inside, and whatever that's inside this range is going to be smaller than the biggest number minus or the delta of the smallest number in the biggest range and the largest number in the biggest range, right? So that means that everything inside, it doesn't matter. So then it becomes just, in terms of thing, it's just adjacent elements, right? And adjacent element is just the max of this bag and then the min of this bag. Well, in this case, there's no bag, but the min of this bag and so forth. So then you kind of keep on comparing the min and the max of the previous buckets. I call it bags for some reason, so maybe it's a bag sort, but no, it's bucket sort, so buckets, and yeah, one of them will have the max, and I think from that's good enough for linear time. The math may be a little bit, the off by one math may be a little bit tricky, but yeah, let's do that then. Let's see if that's right. Am I confident about this one? Yeah, I mean, it does feel right, but yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm convinced, maybe. So we have buckets is equal to n, so then elements, so then range. How do we do the math for each one? Because basically per bucket is equal to r over n, but this can be a fraction, so we times everything by n, so okay. So yeah, so we have, so buckets is equal to let's just say yeah, and here, as we talked about it, we only have to keep track of the min and the max, so we can just say maybe mins of this and max times n. Let's just say -1. And then now for each number, we try to figure out what bucket it is in, okay? Which is, yeah, I'm trying to think whether I'm going to run into some off by, modding issues, modding by n or something like that, with the biggest numbers. I'm just trying to make sure that I am okay here. Because if it doesn't go over correctly, should be okay. I think we just have to be really careful. Okay, let's just do the math then. So yeah, for x in nums. What bucket does it belong to? So it's x minus min. So this gets it to 0, and then is, man, my math is really bad. It is this over x max minus x. No, that doesn't make sense, does it? So we scale. So this is just this minus m. Oh, so this is this over r, the range. That's right. And then times it by. So what does this give us? This is a number from 0 to 1. So then we times it by n, and that's the bucket that we should be in. Yeah, okay. I'm still worried about how do I get rid of this over or. Yeah, maybe it's good enough. Let's just try this. So mins of, okay, so let's just say index is equal to this. So mins of index is equal to min of this, and x, and max is the same. That means that we have to send. I'll send no values correctly. So max is fine. Min will be, just say something like that. Okay. And okay, so the highest gap is, it's going to always be equal to adjacent numbers. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So for bucket index in range sub n, we have the previous, let's just say previous equal to 0. Let's just start at 1. Is that right? No, I mean, I guess 0 doesn't have to have anything, but yeah. Okay, so previous max is equal to just infinity. Let's just set that to infinity. Also, previous max is in. Yeah. Okay. So if previous max is not infinity, then we take the previous max. Actually, maybe max is equal to -1 maybe. And then we just take the previous max. If the previous max is not -1, then we look at the current min. Oops. Is if the current min is not infinity, then what do we do? Then that means that highest is equal to the max of yeah, because there would be at least one gap, so this should be good. Then it is just the previous max subtracted from this, and then we set the previous max is equal to max of b index. What's an else? I think I should put it here. This is if previous max is not equal to -1. So if previous max is equal to the -1, then just set this so we don't. That means that we do this either way. So we can just do this. And then at the very end, we return highest. Is that right? Feels a little bit awkward. And a lot of potential places for off by 1. Oops. Oh no, one time error. Where am I getting on error? Line 17. Huh, this should have. So 9, the range is 8. So this is 8. What is this? So for 9 is 9 minus 1, so 8 times 8 times n. Okay, so it's this -1. Because if this is min, then this is 0. No, but then this is all 0, right? So I need to well, right now okay. This -1 to get it an index from 0 to n-1 inclusive. Okay. That looks okay. Let's add a couple more test cases as well. This one's trivial. What was the one that we had? I guess I just banged on the keyboard, but and try something like okay, 0 is clearly not the answer. How do I even have 0? Shouldn't change the answer, but let's make it slightly prettier. I mean, they should not be. It should not all be in the same thing. So why is this not giving me any answer for that one? Oh, whoops! How did that happen? Okay, so 1 in 53. I mean, the answer is in here somewhere. Basically 60 here and here, but why is it not registering this previous max? Oh, if max, I think I messed it up when I don't know. Today's just been a weird day. No, I think this is right, but I have to check that the index is not equal to infinity, and if it's not, it's the infinity of -1. Oh yeah, whoops, max is -1. Okay, so that looks better. Glad that we tested it. Silly mistake. Okay. That's one more time. This is random enough for me. I mean, I might have an off by 1 somewhere, but let's give it a submit to see. To see. Ooh, no. I was worried about that. Let's see if I actually did think about this, but then I forgot. Like I said, that's why I usually that's why usually as soon as I think of test cases, I should put them out. I'm really tired. I could barely keep my eyes open. So let's give it a go again. Hopefully this one's a little bit better. Okay, cool. So I just have one silly mistake. This is a pretty hard problem, like I said, because it doesn't really come up that much in competitive to do things in linear time. I haven't been even vote. I even vote like I haven't written bucket sort in a long time. I don't know if this is quite bucket sort. It's more like bucket partitioning and then pigeonholing, kind of, if you ask me. But yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how often this comes up. It's not something that I would ask in an interview just because it's such a trivia-y thing. But it is kind of interesting. It's kind of cute solution. Hopefully this explanation kind of makes sense. And this is linear time because we have n space because we have n buckets or n for min, but one for min and a max, and then we look at each element and put in the bucket. Here we have at most n buckets. So this is also going to linear thing. So yeah, linear time, linear space, and that's all I have. Let me know what you think about this problem. Let me know how you did it. Are there other ways to do it? There are probably other ways of doing it because this is a funky problem. But yeah, let me know how you think. Hope y'all have a great rest of the weekend, and I will see you later to good mental health. Bye bye.